Viruses are generic material contained within an organic particle that invades living cells and uses their host metabolic process to produce a new generation of viral particles. Viruses are microscopic parasites that are smaller than bacteria and lack the capacity to thrive and reproduce outside of a host body. Since they are not made out of cells, they cannot keep themselves in a stable state, grow, or make their own energy. While most findings agree that viruses don't have a single common ancestor, we have yet to find one hypothesis about viral origins that is fully accepted in the field. One possible hypothesis, called devolution, or the regressive hypothesis, proposes to explain the origin of viruses by suggesting that viruses evolved from free living cells. A second hypothesis, called escapist, or the progressive hypothesis, accounts for viruses having either an RNA or a DNA genome, and it suggests that viruses originated from RNA or DNA molecules that escapaded from a host cell. A third hypothesis sets forth a system of self-replication similar to that of other self-replicating molecules, probably evolving alongside the cells they rely on as hosts, and studies of some plant pathogens supports this third hypothesis. Viruses are continuously changing as a result of genetic selection. They undergo subtle genetic changes through mutation and major genetic changes through recombination. Mutation occurs when an error is incorporated in the viral genome. Recombination occurs when co-infecting viruses exchange genetic information, creating a novel virus. Only mutations that do not interfere with essential virus functions can persist in virus populations. Recombination generally occurs between members of the same virus type, and two members of recombination have been observed for viruses, which are independent assortment and incomplete linkage. Either mechanism can produce new viral serotypes or viruses with altered virulence. Genetics that reside on the same piece of nucleic acid can undergo recombination. The closer two genes are together, the rarer its recombination between them. Development of viruses with a new antigenetic determinants by either type of recombination may allow viruses to infect and cause diseases in previously immune hosts. Mutations arise by one of three mechanisms. One is by the effects of physical mutagens on nucleic acids. Number two is by the natural behavior of the bases that make up nucleic acids. And three is through the fallibility of the enzymes that replicate the nucleic acids. The first two mechanisms act similarly in all viruses. Hence, the effects of physical mutagens and the natural behavior of nucleotides are relatively constant. However, viruses differ markedly in their mutation rates, which is due primarily to differences in the fidelity with which their enzymes replicate their nucleic acids. Viruses with high fidelity transcriptases have relatively low mutation rates and vice versa. Vaccines contain the same germs that cause the disease. For example, the measles vaccine contains the measles virus, and the HIV vaccine contains the HIV bacteria. But these germs have either been killed or weakened to the point that they don't make you sick. Some vaccines contain only a part of the disease germ. A vaccine stimulates your immune system to produce antibodies, exactly like it would if you were exposed to the disease. After getting vaccinated, you develop an immunity to that disease without having to get the disease first. This is what makes vaccines such a powerful medicine, because unlike most medicines which treat or cure diseases, vaccine just prevents them. Viruses are like hijackers. They invade living normal cells and use those cells to multiply and produce other viruses like themselves. This can kill, damage, or change the cells and make you sick. Different viruses attack certain cells in your body, such as your liver, respiratory system, or blood. When you get a virus, you might not always get sick from it. Your immune system may be able to fight it off. Viruses in a small population can emerge and become global, and new viruses can emerge when they spread from animals to humans, such as the Black Plague when rats transferred the virus to humans. Viral strains that jump species can exchange genetic information with viruses to which humans have no immunity, which basically means that viruses will keep evolving when they change host. For example, the current virus, COVID-19, it has evolved from when it first started because it has jumped from so many hosts.